Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Rob Goff with Agawam Paranormal, and you are listening to Agawam Paranormal Radio. This is a bright and early Thursday morning, and I'm very...
I don't say it's very bright.
Well, it's not bright yet. I mean, it's getting there, though.
The only thing that was bright was the dumpster truck that just came in. Emptied the back dumpster.
So, anyway, it's 6:04 according to Mickey, and I've got joining me this morning, as you heard already, Pete Collins is in the control station there, and my friend and lead investigator, Lynn O'Brien, is joining me again this week. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And Pete's actually not enjoying this current 26 degrees because he has no hair.
Yeah, but I'm going to be enjoying it when it's like 80 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So we've got Pete. Pete ended up doing some charity stuff and had his neon green hair for about a week and let that grow out so his roots were not green, and then shaved his head.
There's a method to my madness.
Yes, definitely that. Definitely that. You're a thinker, no doubt there.
I'm something, but I don't know about a thinker.
Come on, I'm being nice.
No, actually, it's a good fundraiser. I raised over $600, so
that's awesome.
to tally to date. And so people saw me shaved, and then they asked why, and they said they were going to donate as well. So I'll take
cool.
what I can get.
Hey,
Nice.
that's it. I mean, why not? So it's currently 26 degrees outside. We're expecting a high today of about 53, which is very nice. I'm happy with that. Got a nice mild wind of about 4 miles an hour coming from the south-southeast. Sunrise this morning is expected at 6:40. Not that we will see it in the studio. But, yeah, hey, 53 degrees for a high today. Like I said, I'll take that every day. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the forecast coming for the weekend. Saturday, 66 to 70 degrees.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's Saturday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that, and then Sunday we're back to seasonable temperatures.
Yeah, but hey, Saturday, it's supposed to be nice Saturday. It's supposed to rain Saturday night. I'm not sure what time. They're still fine-tuning the forecast. But, yeah, rain Saturday night, but during the day it's supposed to be 66, 70, right in there, depending on who you listen to.
Yeah, it's
So,
not a bad thing.
No, that's not a bad thing at all. Any little bit of snow that's left will be gone this weekend, maybe. Except for, like, the big, the parking lots and stuff like that where they've got, Mount Vesuvius, going there. But generally speaking, hey, like I said, I'll take it. After this winter,
Right.
I am so good and down with that. So we got today, again, my research that I do every week, National What Is It Day. Today, March 28th, is National Black Forest Cake Day. And that's actually a traditional German dessert that's made up of layers of chocolate cake, whipped cream, and cherries. And a tart cherry liqueur is also added, and to top it off with additional whipped cream, cherries, and chocolate shavings. So if you don't like chocolate, this is probably not going to be for you.
Yeah, no, Black Forest cake is for the heavy-duty chocolate lover,
Yeah, I couldn't.
which is not me.
No, me neither. I can't do that much chocolate. I mean, occasionally I'll do like a chocolate bar, but generally speaking, I just okay.
The wrestlers have a thing for that. Too sweet.
Yeah. Hey, here you go. So this was really kind of, and I was telling Pete this before, kind of a boring day as far as historical events, births, celebrity births, and celebrity deaths. But we'll give it a run. We'll go with it. And,
Yesterday there was a ton of them.
Yeah, well,
And they were all singers, like Fergie and what do I recall from yesterday?
Oh, we got a singer today.
Okay, but I was like, wow, okay, there's
Yeah.
a ton yesterday.
So we got historical events. In 1979, a coolant leak at 3 Mile Island, Unit 2 nuclear reactor outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, leads to the core overheating and a partial meltdown. That kind of explains, I guess, maybe why Jersey is the way Jersey is. I don't know.
3 Mile Island was in Pennsylvania, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right. But I'm still gonna use that as an excuse for Jersey. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm reaching with that. But and then tragedy in the year 2000, 3 children were killed when a Murray County, Georgia school bus was hit by a CSX train, freight train.
Yeah, people
And-
crossing crossings. When I worked at Channel 40, we did something with Operation Lifesaver, and we staged an actual train collision at Westover when they still had railroad tracks up there.
Yep.
And it was amazing at how even a slow train, I think it was only doing 20 miles an hour, can effectively destroy a vehicle down to, splinters.
Yeah, there's no way you're stopping that train on a dime.
Correct.
I mean,
and anybody who's dumb enough to get stuck on the tracks,
yeah.
It's like don't try to go sneak by crossing rails that are down.
No.
If the rails cross, then back up and break them, that type of thing. They can replace the barrier, but they can't replace your life.
Yeah. Well, I remember going back a couple of years ago on the way to my house. I've got a train track that you have to cross, and people are always going through it. And these trains will actually stop and then, be beyond it, but not up the gates. And I remember one time heading home, and a CSX train had gone by, stopped maybe 100 yards past it. So it was wide open, and the gates didn't come up. People were hitting the horn behind me, and I'm like, no, this just doesn't feel right. And sure enough, no, he didn't back up, and Amtrak came on the second tracks and flew right by there. And if anybody had jumped the gun on that, they would have eaten it.
Yep.
And, so...
And Amtrak doesn't slow down coming through the West Springfield yard either.
No, they were hauling butt.
Yep.
So, you just, again, common sense. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
And, it's just, I don't know. So anyway, we got some celebrity births today. We do have quite a few. Well, we got half dozen of them. And again, there's so many of these things that I just picked the ones that are relevant to me, my interests, and who I think I can stump my buddy Pete with. So we got Reba McEntire was born in 1955 today, and everybody knows her. Country singer. She's an actress, I should say, and writer, producer, the whole nine yards. She was in one of my wife's favorite movies, Tremors, the first one. And so, but she likes that. Kevin Bacon's in that and all that. Decent movie. Good popcorn flick. Mm-hmm. You remember Kurt Hennig?
Yep.
Mr. Perfect. He was born today in 1958.
His son is still a competitor.
Yeah. Curtis Axel is his stage name. But yeah, he was born in 58 today. He actually died. I didn't write down when he died, the year, but yeah, he passed away quite a few years ago. Do you know I don't know if you're going to know this guy, another wrestler, Terry Scott Zapinski.
No.
You remember back in the day, the Warlord?
Yes.
That's him.
Warlord and an Animal, right?
Yeah.
They were a tag team.
No. That was you're thinking of Legion of Doom.
Okay.
This was a standalone guy. He had like a plastic helmet sort of a thing that covered half of his head that he wore down to the ring, and he had like a wand sort of a thing. Big guy. He was a big boy. So anyway, he was born in 1962. An actor you're definitely going to know, 1970, Vince Vaughn was born today.
An actor I'd probably like to forget.
Okay. All right.
What's so funny over there, Lynn?
She's got the giggles.
Don't hold back, Pete. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
I never hold back. It's not worth it. Life's too short.
So I got another wrestler for you. I'll give you his real name, and you tell me if you know who he is. 1973, Edward Smith Fatu was born. He actually died in 2009, if that helps you. Give you another clue. He's one of the Samoans.
Yeah, I know.
With a name like Fatu, yeah, you know who.
Oh, Superfly.
Nope.
No?
No, that's Jimmy Snuka.
Okay.
Remember You Give?
Yeah.
All right, you remember Umaga?
Yes.
That was him.
Okay.
Yeah, he passed away in 2009. And then the last celebrity birth is, again, I'm going to give you her real name. You see if you can figure her out. 1986, Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata.
That's Stephanie Jolie. Or Angelina Jolie.
Nope. She's a singer.
Oh, Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Hey, good. I never would have gotten that one.
No, you know what it was? It tipped me Germana. I remember hearing that somewhere along the way.
Oh, okay. I had no idea what her real name was. Now I know why she goes with Gaga. But so those were the celebrity births. As far as celebrity deaths goes, we only really had one that was on this date that, for me, was relevant. 1969, Dwight D. Eisenhower passed away. He was born in 1890 and was the 34th president.
Yep, President Eisenhower.
And, that was really it. I mean, beyond that, obviously a lot of people born and, died today, but nobody else that really fit within my little box of interests.
Your parameters?
Yes, my little parameters. But hey, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. So we got we had an interesting week. We had last night we did an evidence review from our previous week's investigation. We got did some video work last night, and I don't know with this particular case. This is the one I was telling you, residential in Southwick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I expected, but I was expecting more because of the activity level that was reported and the personal experiences from my people. So I'm going to be sitting down doing the audio and going through the photographs and the handheld video today. But
I think those spirits are just trying to mess with you, that's all.
It could be. Could be. But, a lot of times, it takes a second visit before we start getting, decent stuff.
Yep.
And this one here, we did have a lot of interaction between the equipment and potentially something that was on site. Stuff that I can't explain. This equipment does not react this way for no reason.
Right.
And, but, like we were looking at the video last night, and, there's dust flying through. We actually had one piece that something floated down from the ceiling, and it was obviously rotating as it went. And it looked to me, at the end, it had like a bow tie sort of a shape, almost like a hard candy in a cellophane. Yep. The empty cellophane floating down. It was almost what it looked like. For me, something like that, I can't jump on a paranormal conclusion for it because it's, I don't know, one time and it only floated down. So, yeah, I don't really subscribe to that one. That one for me, not so much.
Okay.
But I'll be curious to see what we got for the audio because I know during the setup, I was upstairs placing what's called a REM pod up in one of the rooms. And now this is a device that's got an antenna that telescopes out of the unit. And it's basically a proximity sensor. Anything with an EMF base or electromagnetic field base coming near to that antenna will make this thing light up like a Christmas tree. And it's got an audible alarm as well, so you can hear it at any point, when you're in the building. And all I did was set this in what the client had given me as a hotspot. So in order to set this thing off, you have to be literally within 6 inches of the antenna. So you're on top of this device. Mm-hmm. Now I'm at the other end of the room, getting ready to head back downstairs, and this thing starts singing away. And I was like, oh, okay. So I radioed in. I had, we always have radios on us. So I radioed down a command center and had somebody bring me up a digital voice recorder. So one of the guys and I did a short EVP digital session there.
Yep.
So I haven't had a chance to listen to that with headphones. So I'm really curious to see if we got anything. And that's the example of, one of the examples of the interaction of the equipment. So I'll be curious to see. You don't know until you review it, and you go from there. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
And and you'll figure out, like everybody else does, that I'm very, very slow to jump on what I call the Casper bandwagon. If there's any way that I can explain this stuff without including Casper, that's the way I go with it. Lynn can tell you that firsthand, probably to the point of frustration.
Yeah, you shoot us down more than once.
Yeah, constantly. But so with that, we were at ballpark 6:17 in the morning. So let me break into our first song. This was actually a tune for me anyway. Back in the day, I always loved hearing this on the radio. I'm a big fan of Van Halen, both with Sammy and with David Lee. This is their version of Pretty Woman, and it also has the Intruder intro to it. So here we go, 6:15, first song of the show, Van Halen. You're listening to Agawam Paranormal Radio.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Hey, good morning once again, everybody. This is Rob with Agawam Paranormal Radio. It's up to 27 degrees according to this thing. I'm telling you, I'm turning into, what's that guy's name? Cacciatore or whatever?
Morganelli.
Yeah, well, no, he's local. I was talking about the Weather Channel guy.
Cantori.
Cantori, that's it.
Jim is his first.
He's a great guy to work with, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. He seems like a nice guy. So instead of Cantori, you can call me Bobby Calzone. How's that work? That works for me, you know. Come
That
on.
sounds like a mob boss's name.
You know, that works too. But so we've got a couple of Keurig facts of the day that's going to make you the smartest person at the office Keurig machine. So we got a Frankie Sinatra coming on, the coffee song. Let that play in the background. So
I still do this under protest, but okay.
come on, this is what part is under protest? The Frankie?
Come
on.
It's distracting with all the singing in the background.
No, not at all. Come on, this is Frankie Sinatra, man.
Okay.
Can't get cherry soda. Come on. All right, so the first Keurig fact of the day. I don't know if you realize this. I never gave it any thought, but it does make sense to me when you think about it. The Eiffel Tower can vary 6 inches in height depending on the temperature.
Absolutely.
I never gave any thought to that, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the second one we've got is actually kind of a little gross, not inappropriate, but kind of a little gross.
You're not going to start off with gross this early in the morning, are you?
Just a little.
Oh,
just
boy.
a little. Kind of make you think.
Oh, no.
I know. I expect a lot at 6:25 in the morning. According to my research, there are more kinds of bacteria in your mouth than there are people in the world.
Oh, my God.
You believe that one? I don't know if I buy that one, but according to my research, that's true.
You really searched for that one.
I did. I'm
God.
telling you, I dug deep.
Not deep enough.
Oh.
Yuck.
So, let's see. What the hell? Those are my 2 Keurig facts of the day. And we've got, actually, my guests just arrived. We're going to keep them hanging around for a few minutes. And I've got my buddy Bob Mancini coming back in. And he's got a guest of his own coming with him, Taylor Smith, who's a local boxer. And we're going to talk to them about what got them into things and go from there. So why don't we, because they're here, why don't we break into our next song?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Oh, come on.
You threw me for a loop with the stinking coffee song.
I did.
All right. Okay.
So we're going to go with our 6:30 song. We're just going to be a little bit early with it. This is a band that I actually had never heard of. I don't know, Pete, have you ever heard of them?
No.
Okay.
I didn't have them, so I had to go look them up.
Okay. The song title is Haunted, and that's what caught my attention. This is a band called, and I'm going to try and pronounce Diamante, maybe? Or something.
Diamante.
Diamante?
Probably. Yeah, probably Diamante.
I didn't know anything about them, and I still really don't.
You didn't do any research on them?
No, I
Come
watched.
on.
Yeah,
like the name,
I
that's
did the
all that
research.
They're a garage band somewhere in Seattle.
Yeah, well, for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I watched the video, and I could tell you that the lead singer has got blue hair, and she is gorgeous.
Oh, she. I knew there had to be
Yeah,
a
right,
girl
There's
in
a
exactly.
there
she.
somewhere.
And I'm not usually attracted to
Hey,
blue-haired women, but
at least
you
that's
know,
better than Bob Plass. He did Greta Van Street, which is a band that was nominated for a Grammy this year.
okay.
And he said she was great, and it turns out to be all guys.
Oh. Oh well, you know, my buddy Bob. You know, it was just a slip of the tongue for him. That's all it was. You know, he meant to say that.
Right.
So this is however you're pronouncing it. Diamante. Thank you. With Haunted, and check out the video. It's she's really cute. And you're listening to Agawam Paranormal Radio.
Oh, God.
I'll follow you into the dark. I'll be the shadow creeping through every part of you. I've got a hold. You think by now you know that you'll never be alone. You know you'll always be haunted, haunted. Hey, I'm getting under your skin. You're stuck with me till the end. How does it feel to be haunted, haunted? Hey, I'm getting into your bones, and everywhere that you go, you know you'll always be haunted. How does it feel? So how does it feel? I am the face you see inside. In your own reflection, the mirror never lies. Come out at night. I'll be your only friend. I'm just a breath behind. You know you'll always be haunted, haunted. You know you'll always be haunted, haunted. Hey, I'm getting under your skin. You're stuck with me till the end. How does it feel to be haunted, haunted? Hey, I'm getting into your bones, and everywhere that you go, you know you'll always be haunted. How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel when I'm inside? How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? You know you'll always be haunted, haunted. I'm in your head, the darkest parts you won't forget. I'll leave a mark you can't deny. The voice inside, I'll hold you tight, never let you go, never let you go. Hey, I'm getting under your skin. You're stuck with me till the end. How does it feel to be haunted? Hey, I'm getting into your bones, and everywhere that you go, you know you'll always be haunted. How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel when I'm laying inside? How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? You know you'll always be haunted, haunted. How does it feel? How does it feel?
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Underwriting for community radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardy siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is 6:33 in the morning. I don't know. I should be rolling over at this point in time. But
You
we're
did
here.
commit to this, right?
I did.
Okay.
I love it. I'm having a blast with this.
Okay.
It's the other 6 days of the week that I roll over at this time.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Say hi to Chef Rogers coming in. For the
Hi,
morning.
Chef Rogers
See
coming
him
in.
walking
How are you?
Yeah, there he is.
So, so we've got a returning guest, my buddy Bob Mancini, former West Springfield City Councilor at large, boxing aficionado, and all that good stuff. And now, Pete, I don't know if you heard this one or not, he is now officially a wrestling referee. I'm telling you. And
Amateur or pro?
oh, he's pro all the way. There is
No,
not
no,
an
amateur wrestling or pro wrestling.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I got you. He's pro all the way. I don't know if the wrestlers were amateur or pro, but he is pro all the way. He owned that ring for that 10-minute, 15-minute bout, and I saw the video. It was pretty impressive. He counted to 2 like 8 times.
Should I give him the buzzer now or later?
Bob's just looking at me. He's just cracking up. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you after the show." So we're gonna bust your chops on that. And with him is a very young 21-year-old, unbelievable, a young lady boxer, Taylor Smith. Welcome, both of you guys.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
And here, let me bring you. Yep. Okay. And I gotta say, Bob, you talked to me. We've talked many times about your boxing career and everything like that. And I get it. You look like a boxer. You're built like a boxer. You're solid. You're a little mini wall. I mean, you're not going through you.
A mini wall?
Well, that's the best way to call you. I mean, you're
I
like
fought at 132 pounds. I'm too many now, overweight.
yeah, but I mean, you're still a formidable looking individual.
Good looking guy, I know.
Oh, I
get
know,
it.
I know,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
You
don't
got
think
that
he said
rugged,
that.
handsome look. But you know what the thing that kills me, and I'm sorry, Lynn, I'm kind of putting my back to you.
Okay.
Taylor, I got to tell you, I don't get it. You started boxing at a very young age, yet you're a very attractive young lady.
Beautiful
How does
lady.
that? And I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be politically correct here. How do you do that? How do you box and maintain the appearance? I mean, I don't get it.
I mean, I think if you look at a lot of women boxers, even the ones who are super successful, you see them in the ring and they don't necessarily look like that 100% of the time. So I think it's just a matter, like, it's funny to me seeing people who see me in the ring and, like, my hair is slicked back because I don't want it in my face while I'm
Yep.
trying to fight. And, like, you see nothing. There's a big face gear on and you can barely even see my face. And then they see me outside of the ring and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you actually look like a girl now. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I promise I do outside of here.
I guess in my mind, I always expected all boxers to look like you, Bobby. Male or female
you're
don't
killing
matter.
me.
Wow.
It don't
You're
matter,
killing me.
It don't matter. But
And it's true. I'll tell you, I've seen her fight. She can fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about it. She can fight. I can't use the A word, I don't think, but she is a bad A, and
yeah.
phenomenal fighter. She won New England, which is huge.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that, actually. I don't want to give that away yet, but we're going to talk about
Giving
that.
stuff away already.
I know it.
I'm trying to wake up.
So, Bobby, I know when we talked a couple of weeks ago, we got into what got you into boxing. So, Taylor, what was it that got you into it?
So my sport was soccer, like 100% of the time, indoor soccer, outdoor soccer, spring, fall, summer, it didn't matter.
Okay.
That's all I did. But then the summer going into my junior year, I hurt my knee really, really bad. And that was after I had my first fight already, which I ended up doing very well in. And I couldn't play soccer that season, and I was heartbroken. Like, that soccer was my life at the time, high school sports.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking that season off, and I started going to boxing a lot more. And I just got more and more into it. After I had my first fight the summer before that, I loved it. For sure, I loved it, but not more than I loved soccer. So once soccer was kind of taken away, boxing became my baby. It became my main sport. I was in the gym every single day. I would even before I couldn't play soccer, I would go to the gym in the morning to prep to do my cardio for boxing, and then I would go to school, and I would go to either work or soccer practice, and then I would go back to Whitley's at night to box, get more cardio, get more time on the mitts, more boxing and time in the ring.
So the boxing wasn't even a school activity. That was extracurricular as well.
Oh, yeah. No, it's totally outside of school.
Wow.
For Whitley's Brothers Boxing in Holyoke.
Okay.
It's a great gym. It's such a great place.
Now, are you still affiliated with them?
Yeah. So that's like family there.
Yeah.
I'm there when I'm home, when I'm not traveling for work or whatever it may be. I'm in there almost every day, if not every day, getting the work in. It's a great atmosphere. It starts out, so because I started out just boxing kind of to get in shape for soccer, it's a 2-hour cardio class, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays that they do.
What do you do for cardio? I always hated cardio. I was big in weightlifting.
Oh, yeah. Everybody
but I hated
hates cardio. Everybody hates cardio, but it's a class, though, so it's more like everybody's doing it together.
Yep.
Derek and Darren Whitley, they're twin brothers. They're up there leading the class, telling you what to do, showing you how to fight, things like that. And you run with tires. It's pretty intense, but it's crazy, though, because all ages do it. Like, I've seen kids in there that are only 4 years old.
Really?
We'll just give them a little tire. Like a little tiny, like one that like a tiny one. They can pick up, they can handle it, and they run with it. And then there's people in there that are like 60 years old. So it's all ages. It's insane.
Oh,
but
really?
All ages, all skill levels. They teach you everything you need to know.
Huh.
And there's gloves up there, so you just go up and try it out. And it's super, super cheap. It's only $5 a class.
Oh, wow.
Or $40 a month if you want to go.
When she says up there, it's actually on the 4th floor. The cardio for me is walking up the 4 flights of stairs. Oh, my God. Incredible.
Everyone says that's the warm-up.
I remember back in the days when I was doing, like I said, I used to do the heavy weightlifting. And on leg days, I used to hate going up the stairs afterwards. And I'd literally be with one of my best friends, and we'd be trudging up the stairs. I'm like, the stairs are my friend. And, it was just like, agony. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, at least you're using the stairs to get up there. On the way down, it's not bad. We were in a basement and then had to go upstairs after leg day, and I hated that. Yeah. But, I mean, that's minor and insignificant. But that's still, I mean. So, Bobby, have you ever gone there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not to train, though.
Not to train?
It's too hard for me.
Yeah.
And she's nodding her head no. But
you can do it. You can do it.
But
everybody does
she's being trained by Darren and Derek Whitley that both had over 50 fights as a professional.
Okay.
In their career.
Yep. And now Derek Jr., he's a pro fighter now also.
Really?
So he's gonna have a couple fights coming up. No dates yet, but he's already had, I think, 4 professional pro fights.
Yeah, I think he's fighting on the Trojan River card, April 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
so
think.
He's always up there fighting too, and Denzel Whitley's always up there, his little brother, fighting.
Oh. So how old were you when you first got into boxing?
16.
16 years old.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, that was when I had my first fight.
Did you win?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My first fight, it was crazy. I trained so hard for my first fight because it was the first one, I didn't know what to expect. Because some people go up, they get in the ring, and they're too nervous, and you don't think you're going to get that nervous, but they freeze up.
Yep.
So I was like, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to get up there and freeze up. So I trained so hard for it, and the night came, and the weigh-in was easy, got that done with, and I fought in Connecticut. It was a hometown girl, so I was a little nervous because, sometimes hometown fights, if they go to the judges, then you're not winning it.
Yeah.
But I ended up knocking her down in the second round.
Really?
And, she got a couple 8 counts, and I won by unanimous decision.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Yep,
That's awesome. And it also made every boy in high school that you were in there afraid to ask you out.
I was known in high school. After I won the Golden Gloves and everything, I became known in high school. Like, I'm pretty sure it even said in the yearbook. a little bit about me boxing. Like, that was my thing. That was what I became known for.
So you won the Golden Gloves. How long did that take you to do?
So I had only been boxing for, like, competing for about a year when I won the Golden Gloves.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Bobby, doesn't that usually take somebody?
Oh yeah, that's you don't usually do that your first shot. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
My first shot.
I mean,
I actually got knocked out. Got caught.
It was Taylor that did it, right?
I couldn't be that lucky, but yeah.
How long did it? I know you won the Golden Gloves too, didn't you?
I won it in Rhode Island.
How long were you boxing before you won that?
Oh man. Well, what happens is you start off as silver mittens, and then you go up to Golden Gloves and stuff like that. So it's a while. It's very hard to win it. The year that I did lose, though, my sparring partner won it, which I would have beat him 7 days a week if we would have fought in the finals.
Yeah.
But I just ended up getting caught by a kid out of Connecticut. I still remember his name, and it was just crazy because I'd never been knocked down on the canvas, and I was sick. Not to make excuses, but I was sick, had the flu.
Yeah.
And the doctor still to this day is still the doctor at the Golden Gloves, Dr. Levine. And he said, if you get in trouble, we're going to stop the fight, kid. And I ended up getting caught, and the ref goes 1, 2, 3, over. I look up, I go, what? Over? And then my coach, Pat Bartlett, he says, here's $15. I know your girlfriend's in the audience. Go take her out, you know?
Yeah.
But
well, that shows how old you are, because $15 today ain't getting you much except for the value menu at McDonald's.
That's valet parking.
Yeah.
but it's hard. Like I was talking to her outside, it's hard to win. Western Mass. It's just there's so many fighters in so many different weight classes,
Which only makes it that much more of an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Especially within a year. That's incredible. That really is.
I definitely took a loss before that. So the funny thing is, I'd only been fighting for about a year when I won the Golden Gloves. Before that, my second fight, I did great at my first fight. My second fight, I did well, but I fought a girl who, she's a great boxer. She, I think, was like 23 or 24 at the time. So this is a little 16-year-old me, just won my first fight. I'm all excited, like, yeah, I got this. I can actually do this. I can fight. And then I go and I fight in the Western New England Golden Gloves. And I lost. She beat me. But then, right after that, which ended up being with that year, I won Western New England. I came back so much stronger because I lost.
Yeah.
In my head, I was so much more determined. Like, I don't really keep the trophies that I have that are like my winning trophies. It's the little medals you get when you lose. Those ones I keep them. I put them on a little shelf. I've only lost a couple times, but put them on a shelf, and I look at that when I'm training. So then I went on to win Western New England and New England's. So
how many fights have you had since you started? Do you know?
Not that, it's crazy, not that many, because I started boxing, and then as soon as I turned 18, I went and joined the Army National Guard, and I've been away. So I'm just getting back into it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So is the Air National Guard, are they willing to sponsor you?
The Army National Guard?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Army National Guard, yes. Apologize for that.
As far as sponsoring,
I mean, why not? You're already in there.
West
jump at
Point.
it.
West Point does have a
West Point has a boxing team.
And they've been coming the last couple of years at the Golden Gloves, and they're pretty stacked.
Don't get the Army. My son already yelled at me because he's in the Army Guard. He's going in the Army Guard. He yelled at me when I called it just the Guard or the Air Guard.
Yeah.
I get yelled at for that already.
Yep. West Point always comes conditioned when they fight. For sure.
And as she mentioned, when you lose, that haunts a fighter. Like, that haunts you. I'm talking.
Oh, I'm sure.
35 years ago, that still haunts me to this day. That my loss, because I wasn't. The night before, I weighed in at 139. I had to get to 132 the following night. Yeah, and I did.
In one day, 7 pounds?
7 o'clock at night, the night before I weighed in 139, my coach goes, you're fighting at 132 tomorrow. We're not keeping you at 139. I was like, oh, man. That takes a toll on your body.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Bobby, how many fights have you had?
Oh, man, I can't remember. I can't. Listen, you see my wrestling.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that.
I can't count to 3.
We got to definitely talk about that. So listen, why don't we take a break? Let's jump into our weekly Floyd Fix, and I picked, because I knew I wanted to talk to you guys, so I picked a really short song, and it's only 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes. So I've got our Floyd Fix is The Thin Ice, and you're listening to Agawam Paranormal Radio.
Mama loves her baby, and Daddy loves you too. And the sea may look warm to you, baby. The sky may look blue. If you should go skating on the thin ice of modern life, dragging behind you the silent reproach of a million tear-stained eyes, don't be surprised when a crack in the ice appears under your feet. You slip out of your depth and out of your mind, with your fear flowing out behind you as you close the ice.
Give a Hoot Day 2019. Fellow Westfield State students and alumni, please join us for this year's Give a Hoot Day on April 10th and 11th. The Give a Hoot event plans to focus 1,839 minutes of their efforts on encouraging donor participation in support of securing the best possible future for the university as well as its current students. This year, Give a Hoot Day is putting emphasis on increasing student participation with the event. For Give a Hoot Day, donation jars will be located in both Wilson Cafe and the Dining Commons, one for each class, as a fun way to raise money for the university. When placing a donation, students will have the chance to write down their name and graduation year. The class with the most students who participated will win a cash prize for their class council. Hashtag Give a Hoot Day will be held on April 10th and 11th this year at Westfield State University. We are encouraging all students to wear their Westfield State University gear on these days to help showcase their school pride and sense of community.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Rob with Agawam Paranormal Radio. It is still 27 degrees, but the sun is up. The clouds are lighting up in this the direction that we're looking. It's going to be a nice day out. It's supposed to get up to about 53 degrees today for a high. I'll take it. I'll take it and run. So joining Lynn and I and Pete today, we've got my buddy Bob Mancini, and he brought in his one of his boxing, I don't know,
friends.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good way to put it. Taylor Smith is with us, and so we've been talking about all kinds of different things, boxing, what got them into it, and all that good stuff. But I'm going to deviate slightly. I'm going to put my buddy Bobby on the spot here. You just took on a new venue. Yes, there it is. I love it when Pete does this stuff. You became a wrestling referee. That was awesome. I saw the video. That was pretty cool. You came down with a nice little fur coat on with a little valet walking you down, and you got in the ring, and right away the heckling started.
Oh,
and
it was brutal.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was so bad. I honestly, and I know I said this to you before, I thought he was a plant. And when I asked you about it, I was shocked when you said, no, he was just in the audience.
Yeah, he was just in the audience, and I don't know. He must have seen me when I first walked in there, and, you know, me shaking hands, you know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he kept saying a couple weird things to me, and I'm like, what is this guy saying?
Yeah.
You know, this is like the WWE stuff. Like, what are you saying? You know, and so then I walked to the ring, and then he just turned it up.
Yeah.
He said I stunk.
He was he was definitely, like, out there. You know, but I mean, to the point where even when he moved this chair to go sit next to your valet, I was like, oh, that's got to be a plant. You know, why would somebody do that? You know, it's one thing to yell at the talent when they're in the ring. I mean, that's the fun part about it to a certain degree. And I would assume that also extends into boxing as well. You got your, like you pointed out with your first fight, you got the hometown crowd, you know, cheering for their wonder fighter, and, you know, same thing with the wrestling. But this guy wasn't cheering for either one of the fighters.
Yeah,
he was yelling at you.
But you know what was funny? You know, I told him, I said, shut your mouth. I said, and I opened up the ring. I go, come on, get in there then. Let's go, buddy.
That was
get
funny. I was laughing at that.
But it's family fun entertainment. That wrestling stuff's family fun entertainment. I made my debut as a referee. I think I failed it. Failed the test, but
I don't think so. You counted to 3.
No, I didn't get to. Well, yeah, finally after about 10 attempts, but
but it took him that long to get the guy down for a 3 count.
Yeah, I know, but
I thought you did a fine job. I had no complaints, and I watched the whole video.
Yeah.
Usually when I do a video on, you know, if I'm watching a video on Facebook, you get about 5-10 seconds of my attention. Then it's like, no, my attention wandered. But with that video, I watched the whole thing, honestly, to see how you were going to do and to see if you were going to go out there and clock this guy. You know, I wasn't sure.
I'm fighting June 1st. And
is that definite now?
That's what he was talking about. It will be this week. We'll finalize everything. And that's what we were talking about. He's like, you're going to get knocked out June 1st. So automatically the blood pressure starts going. And I'm like, you know, who is this guy? And, you know, and he just started yapping. And I said, next time, you know, I said, be quiet or I'll slap the taste right out of your mouth. You know what I mean? So, and then even when I walked out of the ring, he just yap, like a little chihuahua.
Did you talk to him afterwards at all or no?
Yeah, I just kind of walked by him. I did my own thing, and you know what I mean? And people were like, what's the deal with this? I'm like, I don't know. It's just some probably fan that wants an autograph or a picture with me. I don't know what it is, you know?
Sure.
But,
well, you know, I mean, if you want to take it on and talk to me, I'll come out of retirement, and, you know, between the two of us, we'll tag team this guy.
I need you to be the announcer. You got the voice.
You want me to be the announcer? Pete wants me to be an announcer, too, for something. He wants me to go around doing interviews.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I want him to do the 350th parade. I think he'd be hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, he doesn't want me to do it because I'm professional. He wants to be able to laugh at me. That's the thing.
Well, somebody's got to play off Bob Plass doing. He's like the parade announcer with Kathy Palmer. So somebody's got to play off the Bob and get him to shut up every once in a while. Jeez.
All right, we will definitely.
So you guys need entrance music. Why don't we go with old school?
Dead Man Walking.
Oh, my God. There you go.
There you are. So I guess that's our tag team entry music. I think we can do better than that, though.
We could probably do better than that.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, so that was funny because when you posted that video, I said something about the guy heckling you, asking if that was part of the show, and you were like, no, he wasn't, but I want you to be the ring announcer for the next time we do this.
Yeah.
I was just cracking up at that.
That video received 800 views.
I was going to say, you got a bazillion.
Yeah. That's a lot of views to have somebody post something on Facebook and 800 views, which was crazy. And my phone blew up and my messenger blew up. Like, who is this guy? What is he doing? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do the ring announcer if Taylor's going to be my valet, because if anybody says anything to me, she's going to knock him out.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So this guy wasn't, I don't mean to give him a heckler more attention, but he wasn't a fighter or anything like
No,
that.
he was just
'Cause
sitting in
it's
front of the row.
always, I swear, it's always the people who have never stepped foot in a ring
Right.
who talk the most.
Yeah.
And it's like, they have no idea.
So if she's coming down to ring with me and she's going to go all Ronda Rousey on somebody, I am
yeah.
so for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Hell, I would pay to see that. I would ring the bell for that one. Bobby, you throw the guy in the ring and Taylor will be in there waiting for him, and
Yeah.
two
But that's
hits. It'd be 2 hits. She hits him. He hit the mat.
Somebody roll up the ambulance for Bobby.
For both of us. But at the end of the day, even in the boxing ring, people have their fans, and they get kind of a little wacky. They do in any sport. Never mind. But
Yeah.
But just makes you fight harder and push yourself harder.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you see that going all the way back to the soccer moms back in high school,
yeah.
and people at that level forget it's supposed to be about fun,
Right.
and you get the occasional jerk that just
Yeah.
just takes it away.
Yeah. If not anything more for boxing, because, that's your team, the people that
Yeah.
you're in the gym with, even the people who come to the gym, Whitley's, just to get in shape, they come to our fights, that's still, that's your team, that's your
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
So when they're yelling in the crowd, it's everybody, all gyms. It's serious.
There was an incident
crazy.
in Connecticut I was at, and it was with one of Whitley. You were there. And
When Derek Jr. fought?
and lost. Did he lose? But he won it. Or no, it might have been.
No, he won.
Might have been.
When Denzel fought and he lost,
Yeah,
but he won the fight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Denzel wins the fight, and they announce the other guy. I'm like, what are you watching? And then the other
whole
corner
place was so mad.
The other corner started yapping, and then they rolled up on us, and then we were 50 deep, 50 people deep. They come over like flies on. Crazy.
Yeah. So the other corner, they started coming over and yelling at our side, because we usually, Whitley's, we end up taking up, if not a whole side of wherever we are. There's so many of us that come out and support. So they came over, a bunch of them started walking over, and then we all saw them walking over, and I think our whole group kind of stood up, because when I say it's like a family,
Yeah.
it's like a family. We love each other. So we all kind of stood up, what's going on? Because if they're messing with one of us, they're messing with all of us.
Yep.
And I think they saw all of us stand up, and they were like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And they kind of
time to back away.
There was at least 50 of us.
Wow.
But it could have got ugly. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes that stuff happens, and you hope it don't, but that happens.
Oh. Yeah, that's it's like you go to a hockey game and wait for the fight to break out, or you go to a boxing match and wait for the hockey game to break out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the sport, But unfortunately, the audience gets a little too into it.
Yeah.
But the audience is usually full of fighters too, like boxers.
Oh, okay.
Who are there supporting other boxers too.
Gotcha.
So.
It would have been a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Fighters versus fighters.
And that's the whole thing, I mean, you look at people, and there's no way that you can accurately judge that.
No.
I mean, if I were to meet Taylor outside of this, I never would have put her as a fighter.
Right.
And so I mean, how many other people are in that boat? You look at them, and they just look like a normal person.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
But then you make the wrong statement, and all of a sudden you're looking up, and you can't understand why you're there.
Right. Exactly.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, that's it. So listen, we've got when I talk to Taylor on the phone, and Bobby, you know this, I always try when we have a guest on, I always try and let them pick a song that they want to hear. And so Taylor picked out a song, and I could tell you that it took me the longest time to find a clean version.
Isn't this a boxer, Roy Jones Jr., right? He's a boxer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So Roy, this was Taylor's choice, and this is Roy Jones Jr., and the song is Can't Be Touched. And you're listening to Agawam Paranormal.
I'm right here, boss man. I got this, yeah.
nothing. The block, they need me. The streets, they need me. The club scene, it's mine, believe me. You don't believe me? Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook. We hot. When will you know? Came to get crunk, came to bring life, came to get started, came to get right. Turn down the music, turn up my mic. When will you know? Open your hearts for me, look what I got for you. You in the presence of greatness, I make it hot for you. Pass the rock to me, block it, I run with it. Here for the game and all the that come with it. So full of focus, I'm insisting on keeping it going. The franchise, I exist in the league of my own. Expect attention, I'm familiar with being ignored. The true back, hated locking and closing the door. Brick wall in the road, I won't move. The king, I'm like Roy in the ring, I can't lose. Show the face of what compare to mine. You wanna walk? Ain't hard to find, I holler back. Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook. We hot. When will you know? Came to get crunk, came to bring life, came to get started, came to get it right. Turn down the music, turn up my mic. When will you I move when my heart say move. Feels like a lion, got nothing to prove. Stubborn as a hot damn mule. God in my corner, can't lose. Try to take me out my hot damn shoes. See how quick I drop up and get you the blues. They gon' see you on a hot damn news. And I ain't leaving nothing. Linking me to the crime, not a print, not a hot damn crew. Beating these down is what I came to do, and I ain't playing by a hot damn rule. Shaking you down if you ain't paying your dues. We passing up your block and ooh, my screws are loose. Don't call my hand, cause you gon' make me act a hot damn fool. Dead discussion, you will not win, cause I will not lose. Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook. We hot. When will you know? Came to get crunk, came to bring life, came to get started, came to get right. Turn down the music, turn up my mic. When will you know?
One of our underwriters here at WSKB's Community Radio is Carson Center for Health and Human Services, a nonprofit organization located at 20 Broad Street in Westfield. They provided behavioral health and rehabilitation services in communities throughout Western Massachusetts since 1963. There are services for children, adolescents, adults, families, and couples. You can find them on the web at carsoncenter.org or at 413-572-4132.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Hey, good morning once again, everybody. It's 7:07 in the morning, and you're listening to Ag One Paranormal Radio. And we just played Taylor's dedication, Roy Jones Jr., who's actually another boxer. And I didn't know that when I actually researched the song. But, yeah. So, and we found a clean version of it, so that was a good thing, because there's no profanity in this one. So we've been talking about boxing. We've been talking about wrestling. And, Bobby, you mentioned that you've got an upcoming fight that's, which is June 1st, was it, or 2nd?
We're working on it.
Where is that going to happen?
That's the $1 million question.
That's what you're working on.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're working on. That's the only tie-up. The opponent's all set. Everybody's ready to go. So as soon as we ink into place, and it should be this week. So I'm excited, and I get 100 text messages a day from Facebook that people want to be on that card.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, Taylor, do you have any matches, any fights coming up?
As of right now, I'm getting ready to go on some training for the Army National Guard for 5 or 6 weeks. So then as soon as I get back, I'm going to be back in the gym, and I should be getting a fight hopefully this summer.
Nice, nice. So, Army National Guard, what do you do for them?
Right now, I just got back to Massachusetts. I started recruiting.
Okay.
So I'm going to be going to recruiting school for these next few weeks. I never would have thought that is something that I would have ended up wanting to do, but I started working out at Westover with the new recruits a little bit, and kind of like I really liked seeing the development of them, like coming back from basic training after everything, and seeing how different they were, how confident in themselves they were, and I was like, that's something that I want to be a part of. I want to help kids.
See, I can so see you doing that. Just from having met you and spending an hour with you, I can so see you doing that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And somebody, before I ever even started, when recruiting wasn't even a thought in my mind, somebody joked about it with me because I was helping out over at Westover at the Recruit Sustainment Program. Before new recruits go to basic training, they drill once a month and learn kind of what they need to do to be successful at basic training. And they get paid for it because they're in the Army National Guard already. But I kind of helped them out a little bit over there, and somebody joked with me like, haha, you'll be a recruiter one day. And I was like, I mean, I like what I'm doing now. I like helping these young adults develop. Maybe I will.
But see, I think a strength for where you are concerned personally, you grew up with a team mentality.
Oh yeah,
there
absolutely.
was never again, just first impression, maybe I'm wrong, but your outlook was never about you. It was always about a group mentality, and that's really what you're applying to your current day position.
Yeah, for sure.
And
always.
so for you, it's almost like a natural fit.
Yeah, it
so,
really
I mean,
is.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
the National Guard in general, I love it. It's exactly like you just said. It's a team mentality with everything.
Yeah.
Since I first enlisted, it's always been that way. Like there's senior leaders from all my time in training, from all my time in the Army National Guard, that I haven't seen them physically in a few years, but I still talk to them when I need advice. Like I still call them like, hey man, what do you think I should do? I need some help with it. Like I've never been in this situation before, but I can still always look to them for that guidance, and that's kind of what I hope to be someday for other people.
Yeah, they're only a phone call away at any point in time.
Absolutely.
Now, are you reservist or are you full-time?
Right now, I'm full-time for the Army National Guard.
Yeah.
So usually the National Guard is after you do your basic training and your advanced training, you come back and you do your drill 1 weekend a month, and you do your 2-week training in the summer. But because I'm recruiting now, I'm full-time for the National Guard rather than doing my drill 1 weekend a month.
All right, because I had no idea, honestly, how that worked out.
Oh, yeah, no. A lot of people don't know. Like, I'll go and talk to people sometimes, and I'll tell people about the benefits, because you can get 100% tuition and fees waived to any college or state school in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, the benefits, that sounds great, but they don't necessarily know what they need to do, like what it actually is. Yeah. So I always start out saying, okay, this is what the National Guard is, and then I kind of tell them the benefits, like you get paid, you get your free college, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then tell them a little bit about my experience, which is always fun.
That's why my son went in. He, myself, his mom, and his grandparents were helped pay for college. He went to a semester, did really well, and he says, I was thinking about doing this after I got out of undergrad, but he says, I want to get it over with now, get basic over with now. And he said he wants to go to Westfield State when he comes back from his training class.
Yeah.
But he got the helicopter unit up at Barnes, so he's going to be a mechanic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He said it wasn't much of a bonus, but he said it's the duty assignment that I wanted. So
yeah. And the careers that you can get in the civilian world afterwards with those skills, because now you're a helicopter mechanic. You know what you're doing.
I told him to go to school for engineering now. He wanted to be criminal justice. I'm like, you might want to go for engineering if you're going to be a helicopter mechanic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, one of my best friends, who's like a brother to me, a year older than me, he joined the Army, and he ended up spending 3 years in Okinawa and then another year in Hawaii. I'm like, that's not deployment. I mean, he loved it.
The opportunities are amazing.
Yeah, he loved it. He came back and he was like, I almost didn't want to leave.
Makes you want to enlist right now, Rob, right?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The only reason I did not enlist was that the recruiter that dealt with my buddy lied to him and promised him everything and didn't deliver any of it. And that left a real sour taste in my mouth, because I took the exam same time he did.
Yeah.
And I scored very high on them, as did he. But I'm like, no, this guy just totally lied to my buddy. There's no way I'm signing up for that. And then, but in hindsight, because I wasn't into scuba at the time, if I had thought about it, I probably honestly would have gone with Coast Guard or something along those lines where it was, you know, a marine training thing and, you know, being on the ocean and stuff like that. But I'm too big for, you know, like a submarine or something like that, so that ain't gonna happen. You know, but you know, I
couldn't see you being in a tin can, Rob. Sorry.
No, I couldn't either. But you know, that's my regret. You know, I do honestly regret that my buddy Randy's experience kept me from joining, because I wanted to as well. But when I saw that, I was just like, no, can't do it.
I actually signed up. I agree with you. I didn't make it past the video where they showed the video when the bus pulls up and everybody's screaming and yelling, jumping off. I got up in that class and I said, I'm all set.
No, yeah. No, but I can also tell you that the recruiter didn't look anything like Taylor. So, I mean, you know.
Not too many recruiters do.
But I remember, too, my two older cousins are, we grew up almost like brothers. And the older one went, I want to say it was the Army. I'm not sure what branch he went into. And he was joking around with his younger brother. So he told his younger brother, he says, remember, they can't touch you and they can't swear at you. So the guy, now he did this on purpose to him. So my younger cousin is sitting on the bus, just got to the camp for basic training. And the drill sergeant's outside yelling and screaming and swearing at him. And my cousin, of course, being a bit of a wise ass, yells out the window something about the guy's mother.
Right.
Well, all you saw was his big, beefy mitt, he said, came in, pulled him through the window of the bus, and said, you just became the example. He had nice words for his brother, I don't mind telling you. But they ended up becoming really close friends, and, you know, it was just, but it was a funny experience, and it's a hell of a way to start off your basic training, getting pulled out the window of the bus.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know it can only go up from there.
Yeah, you hope.
They call that an oopsie.
Yeah, that was on purpose. That was his brother getting even with him for, I guess, a lot.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I know. That's what the drill instructor calls an oopsie.
Yep. So, Lynn,
Son,
did
you made an
I know
oopsie.
you had a couple of things you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I was curious, kind of, I guess, questions for Taylor. If somebody wanted to get into boxing, like a teenager, high school, junior high school, like, how would they go about doing that?
I would say for sure just the best place in this area to go if you want to learn how to box, even if you just want to get in shape and you don't actually want to fight, but you want to learn how to box, is Whitley's, because they do that class. And the first hour is the cardio, and then the second hour is you put on the gloves. There's gloves up in the gym that people can use, so a lot of people don't have their own. Or if you just want to try it out and don't necessarily want to spend $40 or $50 on gloves yet because you don't know if you're going to enjoy it,
Yeah, right.
just go up there, use the ones up there, and they teach you everything you need to know. And like I said, it's all ages, all skill levels.
Really? Because my granddaughter has talked about it a couple of times.
Oh, yeah?
You know, she's had her issues in school with bullying and that sort of thing. And we did have conversation just recently about, all right, if somebody messes with you, you know, how do you protect yourself? You know, what can and can't you do without getting into trouble? So boxing was one of the things she talked about. And I didn't, at the time, you know, until we met you today, I didn't really know a whole lot about it. But might be a conversation for her to look into, give her a little bit of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you, and you just reek of confidence. And I don't know if it's a little bit of boxing and a little bit of National Guard. So, because my husband was in the Air National Guard for 24 years, and I saw what it did for him.
Yeah, no,
It's an amazing.
Every day, still, I'm growing and developing as a person and as a leader in the Army National Guard and in boxing. And I'm grateful for the experiences that it's given me. But yeah, boxing, it definitely changed my life. I had that confidence from soccer, also from that team mentality. But boxing, it changes it. It develops you even more, and
yeah, I think
so
being part of a team is a big part of it.
Yeah.
You know, where she's used to being by herself in school, and she's doing good, but she needs that connection with a group of confident people to give her that confidence, which she really doesn't have right now.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I see videos now from when I was 16 and I first started out boxing, And they showed me, and I was so awkward. And maybe it was partly being a teenager, partly never
Right.
having done that stuff before. But I was so awkward, and I was a little nervous still because I didn't necessarily know everybody. But it's so crazy the changes it has in you, because it's a singular sport because you're the only one in that ring.
Right.
But it's still a team, because when you're in the gym, you're training with all those people, and then your coaches, they're in your corner, they're rooting for you, they're telling you they're helping you out. You know what you need to do. So it's both team and personal.
Yeah, that sounds so positive. I mean, she's 13, and I really, her mom and I really want to get her into something that's going to give her back that confidence, because last year was just a horrible year in school with the whole bullying thing.
Yeah.
Well,
this
the
year
nice-
is better.
Teenage years are.
Yeah. The nice part too about this is not only do you gain confidence, but I'm sure you'll attest to this, you also gain discipline.
Yeah.
It's a two-handed thing,
Absolutely, you're right. And the thing is, you never have to step in that ring. You can train if you want to train to be a boxer, you can train, but you don't have to compete.
Yeah.
To get in that ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the good part. You know what I mean? And they will teach you how to use both hands, angles, footwork, you name it.
Yeah. Yeah.
90% of the people use one hand in a fight. They grab you with the other hand, they throw one,
Yeah.
and you think about it.
Yeah.
But the thing I caution people is the minute she starts boxing, she's up here compared to most other people, because if you do protect yourself,
Yeah. Well, I know even in my history, like I said, I used to be very big into weightlifting, but I took Kempo and Taekwondo. And everything that they taught you, the very first thing you learned is when you're going to get into a fight, you drop back into a stance, not forward.
Yeah.
It's not aggressive. You're giving your opponent a chance to disengage. That's the discipline aspect of it. And, your knowledge now of boxing, if somebody were to confront you in public, you've obviously got the skill set where you can knock them out. But again, it's not your first. You're taught the disciplinary aspect of it, where that's not your first avenue.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You give them an opportunity. You go into a stance. Boxing stance is the same. It's a different physical stance, but it's still a stance. And you give them the opportunity. It's like, hey, wait a minute. They look at you, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. They're ready for me.
Right.
And the Sophia, your granddaughter, would be the same thing. You get that disciplinary issue, covered. You have the knowledge and the ability, but it doesn't mean you have the right to use it.
Right. And I think for her that would be good, because she gets angry.
Yeah.
She's got that anger thing going on when something like that happens,
Yeah.
whether it's to her or somebody else in school. I mean, that's a
Yep.
tough age. She's 13, first year in junior high.
Definitely.
Whole new ball game. And, every day she comes home from school, and that's the first thing out of my mouth. So how was your day? Well, so-and-so did this, so-and-so said that, and you can just see the anger coming out of her. And I mean, it's not every day, but when it happens, you could see her get really, really angry. And that's one of the things her mom talked to her about was anger is good, and you should get mad, but you got to learn
It's gotta be
when
tempered.
to act
sure.
and when
Yep.
not to. And that's kind of another issue for her.
So this is kind of interesting. I want to keep with this. Pete, if you're okay with it, I'm just going to skip that song, and we'll wait till the very end. Is that an option? Are we good with that? Okay, thanks. So, I remember, too, my daughter now is 26. That's my baby. She just had a baby. But when she was in grade school, she had, like you were talking about, there was a girl that kept picking on her to the point where she was coming home in tears every day. And she's like, Dad, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I says, you've already tried talking to the teacher about it. Nothing happened. I said, I'm telling you right now, this girl comes up to you and starts pushing you around. You make a fist and you punch her in the middle of her face as hard as you can. I said, she goes, well, I'll get in trouble. No, you won't. I told you could do it. I'm
Right.
tired of this girl bullying you. And I said, if your teacher has a problem with it, let them talk to me.
Right.
And so what she did, Amy actually went to school the next day. The girl came at her to try and pick on her, and she goes, look, I'm just going to tell you right now, my dad told me I could drop you, and I won't get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
They ended up, after that, the girl looked at her like, okay, this just ended, and they became friends. She never had to hit her. There was nothing. It was just, look, my dad said I can do this, and I'm not going to get in trouble for it. But I was very clear with my daughter, you don't become the bully. I said, because I'll have an issue with that. And
that stuff goes on. I mean, so much in our school system. My middle daughter was Marissa, not Sabrina.
I only know Sabrina.
But Marissa, same thing. It's like, come on. And I said the same thing. Curl up your fist and hit her between the nose and the mouth, and they'll bleed in both places.
Yeah.
And, don't stop punching.
See, I've hesitated to do that with my granddaughter because I think if we let her loose and gave her the
Yeah,
permission,
I don't think
she'd just go crazy. It's just been going on for so long. This year, not so much, but she's got all of last year sitting in the back of her head. And, that girl is gone now, but she still has, there's other kids in school that are just ridiculous. And the parents and the teachers just...
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
Don't deal with it. And
Nope.
you can't go and say anything because then they mark your kid as a troublemaker. And
Right. They turn a blind
terrible.
eye to it. And that's disgusting. That's disgusting that kids
Yes, it
bully
is.
other kids. That's
Yeah.
what I tell them. Bully me.
Yeah, bring it to me.
Yeah. Tell
Yep.
your father to
I
come
got no-
see me. Tell
I
your
got no-
father to come see me.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
No. So.
Yeah.
But so we're going to wrap up. I want to thank you both for coming in. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to share?
No, thank you very much for having me. Taylor, thank you very much for serving our country. And
How will we get a hold of Taylor in her in her regular job?
In recruiting?
Yes.
Oh, so I actually have a Instagram and Facebook for recruiting where I put on a lot of they're kind of like guard stories of individual people in Massachusetts who, like, what they've done, how they've become successful in their civilian life through the National Guard and how they're successful. So the Instagram is Sergeant SGT T Smith, TSMITH, and I'm sorry, the Instagram is The Guard Experience, and the Facebook is Sergeant T Smith.
Nice.
So if you ever want to learn more, that's how you can get a hold of me or just look up more information. And thank you for having me.
So I'm going to make Bobby cringe with this. You commented off, Mike, that your boyfriend is a power lifter?
Oh, please, that's not even a sport. That's not a sport.
Oh, my goodness.
We were talking about that before we came in.
Oh,
I'm like,
come on.
Well, you know what? I thought you would have dated a boxer. She's like a power lifter. I'm like, power lifter? That's not even a sport.
This is the guy that's going to pick up the car for her to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. What's
Yeah,
it?
I mean-
You want to give him a shout out? Say hi to him, and she's
Oh, man,
she's
he's going to
blushing.
be blushing. No, just that it is a sport. It is a sport. He's going to be going to break some records this weekend. He's going to be benching over 500 pounds and
Wow.
squatting and lifting
What's his first name?
600 or more.
I'm putting you on the spot big
Nope.
time here. Don't do it? Okay.
Nope.
All right,
Oh,
she's
you can
not-
put me on the spot. I'm just.
She's just not going to answer.
Yeah.
She's not breaking.
Well, whoever the mystery man is, I do wish you the best of luck in your competition this weekend. I hope you do shatter some records. And, I hope you enjoyed listening to your girlfriend being on the spot here.
Oh,
and
man.
turning a little rosy from the embarrassment. But listen, I do want to thank you both for coming in today. Taylor, this was very last minute almost for you, but you came through with flying colors. And Bobby, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I love coming in.
So we'll definitely have you back on. And Taylor, this summer you said you have a potential fight coming up.
yeah.
When you're back, get in touch with me.
Definitely.
And let me know, because I'd love to have you back on and hear how you did.
Absolutely.
And you could talk some more about your ring experience with
Mm-hmm.
that, and anything exciting going on with your recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sounds good. So again, thank you everybody for listening. Lynn, thank you for being here with me this morning.
You're welcome.
Pete, thank you for all your behind the scenes, thankless job work that you do for us every week. It's awesome. I couldn't do this without you, brother.
Okay.
And I want to thank the listening audience as well. I mean, I know you guys got so many choices that you could pick from, and you chose us. I thank you so much for that. And everybody, have a great day. And I'm going to end with a song for my friend Lynn. I put a poll on Facebook asking if I should or shouldn't play
I
it.
can't believe you're going to do this.
I
Yes,
have to.
sir. Come on.
So Lynn won the poll. I'm
course I did.
unfortunately to say that, but I'm gonna play some Skinnerd for her, and this is Freebird. You've been listening to Agawam Paranormal Radio. Be safe, folks. Take care.
I must be traveling on now. 'Cause there's too many places I've got to see. But if I stay with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now. And this bird you cannot change. Oh, and the bird you cannot change. And this bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can't bye, bye, baby, it's been sweet love, Though this feeling I can't change. But please don't take it so badly. 'Cause the Lord knows I'm to blame. If I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now. And this bird you cannot change. Oh,
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Morning, Westfield. Welcome to Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. You are once again in the flow with Rob and Joe. Good morning, Mr. O'Leary.
Good morning, Mr. Langone.
How's tricks?
Great. Tricks are for kids.
Silly wabbit.
Yeah. No, good. Feeling good. Getting organized. MCAS next week.
Oh, boy.
Busy week going on. And
lots of Brave New World stuff next week. Computer-based testing for the first time at the high school level, but I think we're locked and loaded. I think we're in good shape.
I think we're pretty ready, yeah. Yeah, so everything's going good. How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a really busy week. I was out in Lowell on Monday for a meeting with Miss Lisa Sandler, who is basically she's a one-woman show. She coordinates career technical education throughout the Commonwealth for Associate Commissioner Keith Westrich, who oversees CTE on behalf of the Commissioner. Had a great meeting there regarding some continuing work on our aviation curriculum framework and some other things that are coming down the pike. So it's a great way to start the week, very positive start to the week. And then the rest of the week has just been
busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
Busy is not the word. Spent the day yesterday going through the shops, which was a nice experience. I don't often have the opportunity to spend that much time with students in general, just because of the pace of the job. But I spent some time in most of the shops. I got a couple more to get through today where we had a chance to sit in small groups and talk about some things that are, really current relative to how we interact together in professional manners, how we deal with grief, a lot of stuff that's in the air, especially regarding some of the things that are happening in the community, some issues that happen regularly with student conflict. It was just a nice opportunity to connect with people and to talk about expectations, but talk about how their deportment, how they carry themselves in the school context, doesn't exist in isolation from everything else that they're going to be connecting with when they leave here. In fact, the people around the table heard me say it yesterday, and I'm going to say it one more time because it's one of my favorite mantras. School is the dress rehearsal for the rest of your life. If you can nail down all of your responsibilities regarding professionalism and punctuality and cordial and collaborative associations with your peers, and do that effectively here, then the world is going to be very easy for you to navigate when you graduate and go to college or career or both, because those same expectations are the things that guide professional life in the workforce. So if you're not on your responsibilities in high school and you say, I'll take care of it when I get out there, too late, game over, right? This is the place where you practice, where you make your mistakes, where you pick yourself up, where you polish your skills, and where you get ready to be successful out in the world. And the good news is that, 9.9 times out of 10, our kids are crushing it. They get it because not only do they function at a level that's distinct from many of their peers in other places, but the world that they inhabit in terms of the shop isn't just about skills related to, for example, how to do auto collision repair, because we have our auto collision students around the table who we'll get to in a few minutes, but how do I run a business? How do I interact with customers? How do I practice virtues like honesty every day in my interactions, not just with my peers, but with professional colleagues? This is the air that our kids breathe, and again, they crush it every day. And as principal, you're in a strange position because you basically have 600 kids that you can call your own in a very real way. And I go to bed every night worried about a lot of things, but proud of a lot of things too. And the thing that I'm most proud about is how much our kids get it. And we say it all the time, and maybe the people around us get tired of hearing it, but to me, you couldn't say it too many times. I am so proud. I'm so proud of our kids every day and what they accomplish, and how they represent us as a school and as a district. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, there's so many outside influences, and we talk about it a lot in our department in guidance, because so much of what we do goes beyond the classroom. It's dealing with everything that these students have in their life, and education is just a component of it. But there's so many influences that come and go, and ebb and flow. It's like sometimes we lose the focus that we're here for education, but we need to keep the students safe. We want to make sure they come to school. We want
them to understand that they're partners with us in keeping this as a safe learning environment, because this is a huge enterprise, and 4 administrators and 50 teachers can't do it alone. We're in this together. The good news is I think our kids really get that. And you bring up a very interesting point. 30 plus years ago when we were in school, God, it's frightening to even say that, but it's the truth. We went to school for school, right? We went to school for math, English, science, whatever. That's you could argue it's still the most important, content is still the most important part of an education, but our kids have so many more needs than we had, just because of the changes in the world that they live in. But that also calls us to man up or to woman up and meet them where their needs are, right? It's not about dragging people where we want them to be. It's about meeting them where they are and accompanying them to that new place. And that's what it's all about.
And like you said, everybody does a great job, and we are proud of them.
Very proud.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Langoni, I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to introduce to you and to the audience kind of something I think would be a nice new segment in the morning. As you know, and as some of you students may have seen the board out in front, as part of a district initiative to address some of the attendance needs that the Commonwealth has brought up, we have started to track our attendance by grade level. And it's just a very early entry data component. At some point, we might track attendance by shop, by females, by male. We can go anywhere we want. But I just, Mrs. Groom, a shout out to her as advisor for our PBIS initiative, Positive Behavior Intervention Supports.
You nailed that.
Right.
Death by acronym in education, right?
This is something that we started tracking. So we're just 2 weeks into it, and we'll get an announcement out to all you guys, and maybe each quarter the grade level with the best attendance rate. Maybe we'll do something special. Pizza party. I know Mr. Daly loves the ice cream socials, so maybe we could get him to agree with that. But just last week, a shout out to our seniors, and I know a lot ran co-op, but it's still good. But they came in #1 at 95%,
Awesome.
which was great. That was followed by our 9th graders at 94.8%, and then our 10th graders at 94.3%, and then our 11th graders at 92.8%. So really good. I mean, anything north of 90%
90 is the sweet spot,
means
right?
that, we're less than 10%. And the state gives us these regs and guidelines, which to me, I'm still trying to understand them about what's excused absence and not excused. But I think the bottom line, just for the listeners and for our staff and students, the fact that we're north of 90% is really cool. So we'll be announcing that. It'll be a little friendly competition. As we said at the district level and as we say at school, attendance is crucial. I mean, our mission statement is to be college and career ready. And if you can't get to where you're going when you need to be, that's a problem.
Yep, and to borrow the line that's on every billboard in front of every public school in Springfield from my former colleagues in Springfield, attendance matters.
That's right.
Word, attendance matters. Most of the success you will encounter in life is simply about showing up on time.
That's right.
So, all right, producer Pete's telling us it's time for a break. I believe if he's following the order I sent him. Our songs, we're gonna start off with a little Dionne Warwick, Promises, Promises.
Oh, wow.
Stay tuned.
Promises, promises, I'm up through with promises, promises now. I don't know how I got the nerve to walk out. If I shout, remember, I feel free. Now I can look at myself and be proud. I'm laughing out loud. Oh, promises, promises, this is where those promises, promises end. I don't pretend that what was wrong can be right. Every night I'll sleep now, no more lies. Things that I promised myself fell apart, but I found my heart. Oh, promises, they're kind of promises can just destroy your life. Oh, promises, those kind of promises take all the joy from life. Oh, promises, promises, my kind of promises can lead to joy and hope and love. Yes, every night I sleep now, no more lies. Things that I promised myself fell apart, but I found my heart. Oh, promises, they're kind of promises can just destroy your life. Oh, promises, those kind of promises take out the joy from life. Oh, promises, promises, my kind of promises can lead to joy and hope and love. Yes,
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State T-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
And we're back, Westfield. Good morning again. Welcome to Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. We're back in the flow with Rob and Joe. And
ready to take
Before we get going, we have a technical question.
Sure.
Pete Coles, producer Pete.
Yes.
Our one of our guests, Mr. Strozek, he'd like to know why we have the blue wall behind us. Can you speak to that?
When we get everything running, we can actually take the blue wall out and put in something else behind it.
So like the weather, like weathermen? Yes. Superimpose things and backgrounds? Okay. Yeah, green screen? Yes.
If you put on his headsets, he could hear the answer directly.
Caleb will.
So we can electronically replace whatever's on the blue wall behind you with something else.
So they've done some like mock-ups of almost like a sports desk and some different things that different backgrounds.
So Pete, when we're finally televised in sort of a regular sort of way, if
Yes.
you wanted to, you could give me hair.
I didn't say we were doing CGI around here.
Just keep it in mind.
But he could run some.
Tell Mr. Strozek to pick up a microphone.
Mr. Strozek, Pete wants you to pick up a mic so that everybody can hear you.
So, Pete, you could actually, if we had a video, you could have that running in the background from
Yes.
Collision Tech?
Yep, absolutely. Or we could put it in a corner of the screen. We
Okay.
could superimpose it in a corner of the screen type of thing.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Put a Corvette up there or something?
Yeah. Or a couple of our projects that we're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Well, Mr. Coles, he's got big plans for the studio. Studio 120.
That's
I
right.
plan on doing that show for NASA next year. That's one of my goals. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have a few long-term projects that would be nice to kind of record, their progress through. We do a little bit with photography, still photography. But
Nice.
Maybe to have some students do a little video.
Well, the students
those
now have a
long-term
video.
projects would be awesome.
Students now have a video camera of their own to do stuff like that.
That's
So
right.
They have a camcorder that just came in that I ordered just for student projects.
Big budget.
Yeah.
Pete Coles.
Big dreams. So this is a great time, I think. To
Absolutely. Let's see
welcome
who
in,
we have around the table this
yeah,
morning.
Mr. Strozek, one of our seasoned veterans in Collision Tech.
Yep.
So
25
welcome.
years.
25 years. Excellent. Welcome to the show.
Imagine 25 years.
Thanks for being on. We got a lot to get to in the next hour. But why don't you introduce who you brought with you today from the shop?
Okay, I have over to my left here, this is Krill Melnikoff, a junior.
Hello.
Caleb Pirog, also a junior.
Caleb, pull it close to you.
All right.
So that the listeners can hear you. Awesome.
All right.
And Alexis, she's a sophomore.
Hi.
Welcome to
One
the
of our
show.
non-traditional students.
That's right. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for spending a little time with us this morning.
Bill,
morning.
we're glad you could join us. I think you might spend maybe a few minutes here, and then Mr. Brown might come down.
Yes.
But thanks so much. And this is a pretty special year for you.
Kind of bittersweet for all of us,
things are
though.
winding down.
I have a little apprehension and, anxiety a little bit, but also some happiness. It is my last year here.
Your last year, couple more months to go,
Yeah,
huh?
a couple more months to go.
Yeah.
I think.
And
I'm
the year
more,
flew, too.
Yeah, I'm in a large learning curve. Retirement.
Retirement, yeah. So you've been here for 25 years?
Yes, been here.
Was this your first job in education outside of industry?
Yes.
Okay,
The
wow.
program was brand new.
Okay, that's right.
So I was one of the first, the second instructor actually. to be hired here, and we kind of put together a really great program and looking for good things in the future.
Sure.
We're currently going to be looking for 2 new instructors.
That's
My
right.
colleague,
I've got a posting out. So if there's anybody out in radio and TV
Exactly.
land who's interested, who's got industry
Out-of-body skills,
experience and is interested in maybe diversifying his or her career, please take a look on School Spring. On you can Google School Spring and look for, or Google the Westfield Public Schools, and you can see the posting on our site. And
just an awesome
Yeah.
job.
Bill, how many years total in the industry together with?
Basically, I've been in the industry all my life. So took a little kind of a detour. The industry in the 70s got really slow. Cars were going through a huge change, and I got laid off on a Friday.
Oh,
and
painful.
And I put an application in at Smith & Wesson on Monday, and I ended up getting to a painter's job at Smith & Wesson. So I put 10 years in at Smith & Wesson, and then Smith & Wesson, after President Reagan got shot, the gun industry took a dive, and the Brady Bill, and
Right.
Smith & Wesson had some layoffs, and I got laid off there, and I went back in the industry.
Interesting.
But, it's funny how
Did not know that. But
all my basically all my life though, this industry's been great. I
Thank
never-
God landed on your feet every time.
Yeah.
Never collected one check.
Isn't that something?
yeah.
Now, you went to a traditional high school or a tech
Yes,
school?
I graduated class of '72 from West Springfield High School.
Okay, Terriers
Yes,
in the house. Yeah.
Mr. Pignataire, who retired last year, he was one of my classmates. So
Yeah.
we both kind of are retiring. He retired last year. I'll be retiring this year.
Oh, very interesting. So, how'd you get into the? What was your interest in the auto body industry? How'd that come about?
It's funny. My father was a white collar worker, suit and tie, and he, kind of always questioned me why I want to do that. But one of my really good friends, his father was a machinist at the Armory, and he had a little machine shop in his garage, and I thought that was really neat. So, as a kid, we went over there, and he kind of taught me how to work with my hands, and got us going, and that was it. I like working with my hands.
Yeah.
It's productive. You can see what you're doing. In the end result, there it is.
Right.
It's done.
Yeah.
Sometimes, unfortunately, paperwork kind of monotonous. You do it and
Yeah.
hand it in, but
We could write the book on that.
Right.
exactly. But the collision industry, it's kind of that artsy, craftsy type of industry where when you do something, it's like I said again, you can see your fruits of your labor.
Right.
It feels rewarding.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
Caleb,
And it is artistic. I gotta give you guys credit. Last year when I was out on paternity leave, my car was here. I had a couple of mishaps, not my fault, just as a sidebar. And the car looked better when it came out than the day I bought it. And it does. It's more than just mechanical aptitude. There's a certain level of artistry to painting and collision work and body repair, which is I think it's great that you point that out. It's at a different level.
Right, and I think all of these students, there's that big word pride. I think they really, they're
Yeah.
they're very proud of what they do. You have that proudness or pride, built in into that whole concept.
Absolutely.
It's funny you brought that up, Bill, because I spent the last 2 mornings at South Middle.
Careful.
At the
Careful.
Westfield Middle School.
I'll get phone calls.
At the Westfield Middle School, which is located south of here. Sorry about that. And
Nice save, Mr. O'Leary.
Thank you for bringing that up. And we're in our interview process. So I was there with Ms. Arvanites and Mrs. Groom and Mr. Daly, interviewing about 140 students, which is part of the admissions process. And we have 5 questions that we ask each and every student, and 90% of the time, why do you want to attend Westfield Tech Academy? Because they want to work with their hands. They like to make things. They like to figure out how things go together, and that's the foundation of our conversation in every interview. They like to make something and then sit back and say, hey, I created that. And then we talk about the importance of academics every other week. It's not just about the shop.
That's right.
It's part and parcel of everything in order to get that high school diploma and also all these great competencies in shop. But it's funny as eighth graders.
And it's not a hitch that's for the weak of heart.
No.
We'll get to that with some of the folks that are around the table. You're accessing a very rigorous technical education on one side of your schedule, and you're accessing a full an emphasis on full academic education on the other side in roughly 70 to 75% of the time that the folks who are doing it full time at the high school are tackling the same curriculum. So this is not for the faint of heart at all.
Right.
One thing about all of these students, though, it's funny. I don't think they realize how much growth they really achieve. They come in basically knowing very little, nothing almost of collision tech in 4 years, 3 years, like Kirill and some of these students, put a spray gun in their hand and there you go. There's your product, and start to finish, and it's done with very little, if at all, any help from the teachers.
I'm amazed. All 12 of our shops, I think it's safe to say, starting in probably the second half of freshman year, these kids have more knowledge in their specific industry that I've got in my pinky. I mean, it's amazing. It really is when you think about it, because they're just, they're in their concentration. And I mean, these guys, look, they're running the camera. I wouldn't, if you put me back there, I wouldn't know the first thing to do.
No, and I'd be even worse if you tried at this point in my life. I'd be even worse if somebody tried to explain it to me.
Right. So, and then I want to introduce Adrian, who made it in. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry that I'm late.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Better late than never. We're just talking about that. What grade are you, Adrian?
10th.
10th. Your attendance last week for your grade level was 94.3, so we got to get that up to 95. I'll fill you in later about it. You don't know what we're talking about, but it's all good. It's all good.
Nothing like putting somebody on the spot.
Yeah. Well, my buddy, I got to do that, right? So, all right. Do you want to maybe hear from the kids?
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Get to some guests. Any volunteers who'd like to go first?
Oh, yes.
Caleb, Kirill?
Caleb's a good, he's a talker.
Yeah. All right, you lead the charge, Caleb, and then you'll get your fellow students going.
About you and
all right.
what you're working on.
I'm Caleb. I work in, my shop is Collision Tech. I do a lot of metal working and welding. I enjoy that. I'm not too bad of a painter. I got my painting down pretty well. Doing that pretty well. Yesterday we went over to Abner Gibbs and read to the kids, the first graders. They had a lot of questions about the cars in our book. It was pretty cool.
What type of questions did they have?
Oh,
we were talking about this.
So just for the benefit of the listeners, our students from 10 of our shops went over to Abner Gibbs yesterday to do. We adopt a school every year, and normally it's in February during CTE week, but we got hoodwinked by a snow day on the day that our kids were supposed to go over and do their reading and their demonstrations. So because they had been prepared so well by our librarian, Donna Rollins, and a big thank you to her for working with them and setting that up, we wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity, so we sent them over yesterday. So that's what Caleb's talking about.
Me, Kirill, and one of our other
Juniors,
classmates.
Yeah, non-traditional student, Danielle.
Danielle.
We went over there, and it was
nice.
very interesting. It was as interesting for our students as it was for the little first grade, first graders.
Did you guys volunteer to go, or were you hands up?
Yeah, we
okay, thank you for doing that.
No problem. And plus, my sister goes to Abner Gibbs, so I saw her there.
Oh, that had to be fun.
Checking up, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big brother checkup.
Yeah, you always got to do the big brother checkup.
That's right. So what kind of questions did the little ones have?
One of the questions I really liked, it was like she pretty much asked how the car was how it moves. And I was like explaining it to her, how the piston goes up and the fuel, it compresses it, and it shoots it back down, makes the camshaft start moving, moves all the parts and gears, makes it start going.
Nice.
And it was actually really interesting how their questions, like, for Collision Tech, even though they had really nothing about it, it was actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Especially from, like, the minds of a 6-year-old nowadays.
Well, that's just it, you know?
Yeah. We
also brought, like, a big box of all the
Oh,
tools
yeah.
and equipment that we use in our shop.
We let them handle
Yeah.
some tools and some
Nice.
equipment, and from little tiny wrenches, they like those that we had a
Yeah.
inch and inch and a quarter wrench, and they couldn't believe how heavy it was. And, it was really
What a great
Awesome.
what a great
They
day.
were
I'm so glad we
fascinated
do
by
that.
the little button to take the socket off of the ratchet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I know Kirill got dressed up in his paint suit. That's kind of what he's specializing in, painting.
Mr. S, grab the mic if you're talking, because we
Okay,
can't hear you in the
so
booth.
Kirill is specializing in painting. Actually, he's going to be going to Skills USA.
That's right.
He was a gold medal, Western Mass gold medal winner, so he'll be going there. But he dressed up in his painting outfit, and there were quite a few questions about the PPE, the respirator, why you have to wear that paint suit. And
I know, you must look like an alien to first graders. You're covered from head to toe, and you've got that respirator.
They were mesmerized.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
when
really
you breathe through one of those respirators, it kind of sounds like that Darth Vader. Yeah, oh yeah, and they were like, oh boy.
Luke, I am your father.
Hey, Caleb, take us. We like to ask our students that are on the show just about like that whole process about, your decision to kind of come here. I think it's important for listeners to know that they've got some really nice, viable choices in Westfield. They're very fortunate in this city for high schools, and I think we like to share. What was your thought process as you're getting ready to transition into high school, and then once you got here, how did you end up in your shop?
Well, I heard about this school from a friend because he used to go here, and I always heard a lot of good things about Collision, so that was kind of my first thought. But I still kept an open mind and went through all the shops and all the 1 weeks and thought what would best suit for me. So I
What
kind
did
of
you? Do you remember what you chose for your 1 weeks?
I believe it was horticulture, collision tech, culinary, and there was something in the middle there. Maybe manufacturing.
Clearly not a front runner.
Oh, manufacturing. That's what it was.
Manufacturing.
Yep, manufacturing. It was really cool. And my sister got a little top from manufacturing that day, yesterday. So that was also
Nice.
cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that was all really neat, but I eventually got with my first choice, Collision Tech, and I'm enjoying it. I'm glad I chose it.
That's great.
How about you, Alexis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
well,
quiet.
I knew that I wanted to come to this school because both my sisters went to Westfield High. They both hated it.
There's a little.
So
well,
it's like,
but that's an interesting perspective,
yes.
drawing
So I was
on
like,
other
well,
people's experience.
I won't put myself through that, and I'll go to the other school. And then I was kind of looking into the shops, and originally I wanted to go into graphics. And then we went through all the 1 days, and I was like, well, I surprisingly liked Collision Tech. I didn't think I was gonna like that because cars were never my thing when I was younger. I still don't know anything about like cars themselves. I just know how to like do all the refinishing stuff. And then I went through all the 1 weeks, and this ended up being the one that I liked the most.
Wow. Would you consider yourself kind of like artistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did lots of arts and crafts when I was little.
Oh, nice.
Always doing stuff with my hands when I was little.
I'm curious. We talked about non-traditional
Mhm.
a little bit, which we'll get into in a little bit later. But did your parents support your decision, number one, to come to the school, and number two, when you told them you wanted to paint and sand cars? How was that?
Oh, my parents loved that I chose to come to this school because, in my opinion, I think I'll have a more successful future rather than if I went to the other school. And then doing the auto body, my dad thinks it's like the coolest thing ever that I do this.
Yeah.
And my mom, she likes that I do it, but she's like confused when I'll like come home and say what I did, and she's like, I have no idea what that means. But my dad kind of gets it, so
yeah. That's
So,
nice.
Alexa, in terms of shop, because there are a lot of areas of specialization within the shop. There's metal fabrication, and welding. There's painting. What sort of your developing area of expertise?
Her niche.
Your niche.
I
Thank
really
you.
like
Thank you,
painting.
Caleb.
No problem.
I think painting is my number one thing, and like I like doing, what would it be? Like the sanding and like prep before you paint. I like doing that.
Prep
like
work.
prep work.
Yeah.
But like welding isn't my favorite thing to do. I'd
Mhm.
rather have a paint gun in my hand rather than the welder.
Hey, don't worry. I taught you a little bit of welding.
Yeah.
Do you own your own vehicle yet?
Not yet.
No.
If you notice that, we do quite a bit of peer coaching.
see
Students
that.
will
Great.
work together on certain projects and help each other. She said, Alexa said,
Well, that's what's
and
nice.
Caleb's that's his specialty.
In
He
that
really
shop
likes
context,
welding.
you're doing collision, but collision is an umbrella that has a lot of little, a lot of little niches and a lot of little drop-down menus underneath it, right?
Yep.
And you have an opportunity to develop a particular skill that you may enjoy more than others. I think that's awesome.
And it's most of the quite a few of the non-traditional students, the females in our shop, they just, I don't know, it's the artistic flair about it that they kind of really like, that painting aspect in detail and of that side of the industry. So I know that one of our first non-traditional students, Cassie Garlow, is still working for Belize Collision in West Springfield, and she went there on co-op, and that's like 13 or 14 years ago.
So it's a good stretch.
Yeah, I think she finally just stepped out of the painting side and now is in the management side. So she's worked herself up.
Yeah,
the ladder.
Yeah, so there's,
she's like the foreman.
And that's a good point, Bill. Once you segue into the industry from school or from whatever training program you have, you're not stuck. You're not stuck is not the right word. You're not situated in the shop permanently if you don't want to be. There's room for growth outside.
Absolutely. That's what all these students have to realize. I mean, she was a perfect example of that growth. And different avenues of the industry. So.
And I got to ask you, just with everything going on in society, and we can't get away from it, but in our own little world here, as a 9th grader going through exploratory, when you walked into a shop such as Auto Body, Auto Tech, some of the non-trad where, non-traditional meaning there's less than 30% of, in this case, the female gender in that industry. When you walk in as a 14-year-old girl, did you feel overwhelmed? Did you feel supported? Did anyone say to you, what are you doing here? You can't do this? Or, just talk about that, because I got 2 daughters, and I'd want to make sure if they went to this school that everyone was supporting them to reach their goals. What was that whole experience like?
Well, like when I at first went into all the shops, like even in 8th grade when we took the tour, I never thought I was going to be there. I'd be like, that's not for me. I'm never going to do that. And then eventually I was like, oh, this is actually like really fun. I like doing it. And then I realized that like, oh, there was one other girl in the freshman class last year. She ended up switching out and going to somewhere else. But I was like, wow, I had never kind of like realized that there's like really not that many women in this industry. But I think it's cool. I feel like
it makes you unique.
Yeah.
And you feel like you can handle everything the guys do?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I kind of set you up for that question, and my point is I think our instructors really, a shout out to you, Bill, and Mr. Brown and Mr. Carden and all the instructors in our school, because our non-trad numbers are just growing, and as an administration,
they're important.
That tells us that it's equal access to everyone,
Yep, they're important. It's one of the criteria that the state uses to determine our accountability as a tech school. So.
And how proud we are to see females in the industry, and then Cassie being successful, and we could list tons of females that are very, very successful from all of our shops. So I'm glad you're happy and you feel supported and you feel safe and you feel like you can do everything the guys do, because.
All right, producer Pete's telling us it's time for another break. So little dedication out to my good friend Mark Voca at Central Office. Little Victimone Aldi La.
Non credevo possibile si potessero dire queste parole. ci sei tu per me, soltanto per me, al di là del mare più profondo, ci sei tu, al di là dei limiti del mondo, ci sei tu. Al di là della volta infinita, al di là della vita, ci sei tu, al di là, ci sei tu per me, la 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 la, la
What does al di là mean?
It means, it's kind of hard to explain. Far, far away, beyond the beyond. Beyond this world. That's how much he loves her in the song.
al di là della volta infinita, al di là della vita, ci sei tu, al di là, ci sei tu per me, la la la, la la la, al di là.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Our projects are real life.
And we're back. Welcome back, Westfield.
That was really good.
Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. Slight musical hoodwink. It wasn't Vic Damone, it was Sergio Bruni, but still a great song.
Same division, right?
Al di
You
la.
throw me these super obscure songs. I'm doing the best I can back
Oh,
here.
come on.
Back
That was a late 60s, early 70s standard. A fantastic song.
I wasn't born yet.
Demerit,
I
demerit
wasn't
Pete.
born yet.
Demerit Pete. See me in my office.
That's it.
Hey, I gotta give
Classic,
Mr.
classic.
Langoni, I got to give a quick shout out to my brother.
Please,
Happy
please.
birthday, bro.
Sorry, happy birthday, Rick.
My brother Rick down in East Greenwich. I sent him a text. Hopefully he's listening. So hope you have a good one. I know he's up-
Also, first day I noticed of March 21st.
yeah.
First day of spring.
Well, last night technically, 5:58. So
Finally.
yeah, we're glad it's here.
Yeah, let's hope it stays. Let's
Yeah.
hope it sticks around. I'm done with snow. Done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done with it.
All right. And a couple other nuggets, but we'll get to those.
Sure.
We'll get to those at the end of the show because we want to make sure we travel around and get everyone. So who do you want to bring in next, Bill? You're doing a great job co-hosting, by the way.
No, I'd
He's
like
a natural.
to.
I'm telling you.
I'd like to bring in Adrian. Why don't you talk about a little bit about, why you, again, like Alexis, why you chose Collision Tech or Auto Body, and talk a little bit about your dad, and you talk very highly of him and his trucking career and some of the good things about the trucking career, and Just
Love
the
that. Yeah, love to
just the
hear
fact that Adrian is starting to understand a little bit more about the tools and
Excellent.
actually can give his dad some help now. It's great.
That's super. And you actually transferred shops.
Yeah.
Right? So you could talk about that too. That's interesting.
So, I think I started loving cars by the age of 10 when I started watching Fast and Loud with my father a lot, and also like overhauling. And I always loved how the cars came out like lime green with like the flames on it, or like the little chips, like the little flakes inside them that make it wicked shiny.
Oh, the metallic
gloss, yeah. And I always loved watching them paint, and I was like, that's so satisfying. I really, really want to learn how to do that. And then by the age of, I believe, 13, I was in 8th grade, and I heard about Westfield Technical Academy. And I wasn't
Adrian, what middle school were you in?
Gateway Regional.
Oh, so out of district, Mr. O'Leary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have an out-of-district student here also, so.
I wasn't particularly interested in transferring schools because I kind of liked my friends. But then I heard that they had a collision, and I was like, well, what's the collision shop? And it was painting cars, fabricating metal pieces, and I'm like, wow, that's the thing I really want to learn. So,
Adrian, can I interrupt you? Because you bring up a point that I don't think people think about often in terms of how a middle school student makes a decision, and a really life-changing decision, to move, in your case, not only from middle school to high school, but from one community to a different community. I mean, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, don't you? Yeah. And one of them is everyone and everything to a certain extent that you know, right? Doesn't mean that your friendships are over with your folks at Gateway. It just means that the parameters are different because you're not seeing them every day. You're not interacting with them every day. And for a 13 or 14-year-old kid, that separation from what you know is hard. And I know the same thing because I moved. I went from one school to a different high school in a different community. So I know what that experience. I remember what that experience is like. So props for that, because that complicates further complicates what's already a complicated decision. And that says something about the maturity level of our kids that are coming in as freshmen in terms of making that kind of decision.
Just the commitment. Again, Adrian, unfortunately, well, he was late this morning, but just to get up at the time they have to get up is much earlier than regular students from Westfield.
Sure is.
They have a lot, quite a bit further distance to travel, and many of these students, they're up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to come to high school. I give them a lot of credit for all of that. Adrian, what's your regular normal time to get up to get here?
I get up around 5:40, 5:30, somewhere around there. And
I don't think a lot of Westfield students realize those out-of-district students need to get up a little earlier than they do.
No, I know. School starts at 7:26. What time did you get up? 7:15.
Billy, we had a girl from Dalton a few years back. She caught the bus at 5:45 to get here.
There you go.
Imagine that.
Horrible. Different county.
Different county.
God.
Yeah.
But I'm almost used to getting up early in the morning because I go truck driving with my father, so we have to get up at like 12 in the morning, 2 in the morning to go 500 miles up to like Rhode Island or Long Island, somewhere around there. But back to the Gateway thing. I had to talk to my parents about this decision because I really, really didn't feel like leaving my friends. So they told me this is a life-changing experience, and you have to make a good decision here because this is going to decide what you're going to be doing for a job. Do what you love or stick with your friends. You'll always be friends. Don't get me wrong, you can always head back, hang out sometimes. And I kept thinking, and I signed up for Westfield Tech. So I get here, and I'm like, wow, this is a giant school. I almost felt like going back on the bus, like, yeah, take me home. Right? And I was amazed. So we decide, Mr. Langoni comes up and introduces us to the teachers and whatnot. and we have to pick the couple of shops we want to get into for the one days and whatnot. I believe I picked manufacturing, collision, auto tech, and I think horticulture. And after the 1 weeks, I was torn between collision and manufacturing, because for the only reason in manufacturing is because they have a 100% job rate or something like that.
Oh,
job
co-op placements.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I can secure myself a job there. And collision, where I love working on cars and metal and, you know, working with my hands. So I was stuck between that. I chose to go with manufacturing for a week for it. And I found out that I really, really didn't like it much as I thought I would. It's not all about the money, so to say. So I told my dad that I think I'm going to change out of the shop to go to collision. And he told me to do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I was like, wow, okay. So I chose collision, and I was so happy to do that. It's my passion. It's what I love to do. I love cutting up metal, shaping metal, using the plasma cutter, welding the metal, painting, mixing the paint, and all sorts of things like that.
You know what, Adrian? You bring up a very good point. Money is important. Nobody can deny that. We live in a society where, for good or for ill, much of the judgment that is made about us as people is based on what we earn, how much we earn, and what we do with it. But the reality is that no matter how much money you make, if you're going to something every day that makes you miserable, that's not living, right?
You can be making 100, you can be making thousands a week, but still not be happy.
It's true. You know, that's the difference between surviving and living. And making a living is doing what makes you happy. It's a win-win if what makes you happy also makes you wealthy. But the happiness is the thing that has to come first, because you got to have that motivation to get out of bed in the morning. And if you're miserable, that isn't going to happen, as we all know. I always say it about my own job. The morning that I wake up and I decide that I'm not having fun anymore, I'm not going. And the good news is, and my wife is very happy about this too, I still get up every morning and I go to work. So, but it's because I'm doing what I love doing, even on the crazy days. So that's a really important point. You have to follow your passions. Don't, you know, the dollar sign isn't the ultimate story. It's your happiness that's your ultimate story.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
great words of wisdom.
Hang on, Mr. S. I've just producer Pete's buzzing me in my ear. We're going to take our last break for the show, and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Hey, Kirill.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
And we're back, Westfield. Welcome back to Tiger Talk Live, all things Westfield Technical Academy. You're in the flow with Rob and Joe again. So before we get back to our auto collision students, who we've been having a wonderful morning with, we've got a couple of news items. Pete, I need you to help me out because I'm going to botch the name. We have there's a concert happening on Friday, April 12th, correct?
Yes. It's Chicago Total Access.
It's a Chicago tribute band, right?
10-piece band, so they have the horn section and everything else. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a benefit for the Westfield Auxiliary Police, and we're going to be doing a benefit for them. But we're also have permission from the band to get a crew together and do a concert video of their performance here.
It wouldn't be a crew of students from the Westfield Technical Academy.
I'm trying to get them to come back that night to do it. Yes, I want it to be all students actually.
And for the benefit of the listeners, our venue?
It's going to be up in the auditorium. So. Right. 750 seats. We're hoping to fill the place.
On site here at the Westfield Technical Academy. Rock the house. Rock the Casbah, baby. Rock the Casbah.
I hear Culinary's doing some nice baked goods to sell outside as well.
Oh, it's hard to say no to a bake sale.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right. Kirill, you got some news for us about recent Western Mass District Skills Competition, correct?
Yes. So in total, there was about 51 students that went to the district's competition, and
little closer with your mic, Kirill.
Sorry about that. 28 of the students.
So just go back a little bit. The total number was
51.
Right, which is up significantly from last year, where we had 40 participants in districts.
So 28 students earned medals from the competition, and that's actually pretty good. That's more than half of the students.
Yep, we're up a lot from last year. I want to, off the top of my head, we had 16 or 17 medal winners last year, so a huge increase.
Mm-hmm. And so, should I just announce the gold winners?
Sure.
Yeah. So there was about exactly 8 students that got gold. It was Frank Florek from Industrial Motor Control, Cassandra Garrett, medical terminology, real. Library, she was CNC technician. Crystal Lynn, basic healthcare. Me, I was one of the winners.
Me?
All right.
Awesome.
Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the automotive refinishing technology. Alice Mozachuk from CNC milling specialist. Savannah Shea, medical mathematics, and Ksenia Zinchenko, computer programming.
Right.
All right.
And so just so for the benefit of our listeners, I know we say this every year, but people forget, a year goes by. We had students place at the gold level, the silver level, and the bronze level. Those students who won gold or silver will be moving on to Skills USA state competition, which happens in the last week of April. It's the week after April vacation. They will be going for a couple of days to Marlborough, Massachusetts, where they will compete in states, and then anyone who makes gold at states potentially has the opportunity to participate in nationals, which happen in June in Louisville, Kentucky. So congratulations to all of our medal winners. We're very proud of you. We're extremely proud of the increase in numbers overall and in terms of students who won medals. That says a lot about our kids and the quality of their education and the level at which they're accessing their education. We want to be sure that we thank Mrs. Maureen Belarjan, who has been serving for a long time as the faculty advisor to Skills USA. And Kirill, help me out because I don't want to forget anybody who traveled with you. Mr. Wayne Bush from Carpentry. Who else?
Mr. Talumis.
Mr. Talumis.
Mrs. Belarjan.
We let Mr. Talumis off of his leash for the day.
Yep.
We had Mr. Bush, Miss Belarjan, and am I forgetting anyone else?
Chef Rogers, I believe.
Chef, that's right, Chef Rogers.
Yep.
And
From electrical, Mr. Barrows.
Mr. Barrows.
Correct.
So we want to give a shout out to to Mr. Talumis from WTA administration and all of our other faculty chaperones who helped make this a really great experience for our students. Skills USA is awesome. It's one of those opportunities for students to really get a taste of the real world application of of the skills that they're learning within their technical areas.
So, Kirill, I'm just, could you share with our listeners, if you were to speak to an 8th grader or even a 9th grader, why should they get involved with skills? I mean, tell us a little bit about what is it? I mean,
it's just a great way to know yourself, exactly what you're good at, and even if you don't win that, you still kind of evaluate yourself. And the earlier you start Skills USA, the easier it would be later on in the years, and hopefully by senior you can go pretty far. So Skills USA in general is technical and academic kind of competition. You have to prepare yourself for the test. And
you're also an officer, correct?
Yeah.
And they say these conventions are pretty electrifying. I mean, there's a lot of people there, right? A lot of schools. They're all in their red jackets.
Yes.
It's I get kids that come back saying they couldn't believe how cool it was. Almost like somebody described it as like the Olympics when you get your gold medal and everybody cheers for you.
Yes.
And just for the benefit of the listeners, competition at the district level is written competition. It's academic. Academic in terms of it's what we would call related science here. It's the theory that's behind the practical applications that are that make up the areas that are for competition in states. So you move from a written evaluation at districts to a performance evaluation at states. So it's gradual. It encompasses all of the learning that's happening in shop. It's very comprehensive. Very high stakes, really. So when you think of the commitment that our kids who are participating are putting into it, it's really awesome. We've got about 4 minutes or so left, and I don't want to end the program without an opportunity to introduce the Mr. Alvin Brown.
Good morning.
The most recent addition to our auto collision faculty. He's completing his 3rd year here. I was fortunate enough to be able to hire him the year that I arrived, so we've been at this for the same amount of time, basically. We started here together, and we're just trucking along.
Absolutely.
Hi, Mr. Brown.
Good morning, Mr. Lowry.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Strozek did a great job.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he's a natural. Yeah.
We know what he's doing in his retirement.
He has a great radio voice, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. And his interface with the kids is really good.
Absolutely.
He was great. Yeah.
True professional.
And we're gonna miss him. And of course, Mr. Carden. Shout out to him, who's also retired. So you're gonna have to break in 2 new instructors.
Absolutely.
You along with these guys.
Yes.
Hey guys, take it easy on the new folks next year, would you?
I know.
All right.
You are suddenly going to be the senior faculty member of auto collision.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah. Look what I got.
Looking forward to the challenge.
Look what I got you into. So I saw you this morning walking in. Not only are you busy with collision, but I know you're involved in a lot of other things. What else is going on in Alvin Brown's life?
Well, right now, currently at WTA, we are having varsity and JV baseball tryouts. We have so far 32 students who have signed up and have been practicing all week, trying to earn their spot on the team.
How are those numbers compared to the past?
Very good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
Very good set of skills.
And you also coach wrestling.
Absolutely. This year we brought 6 people to the state competition. One of our wrestlers ranked 7th in the state at 145 pounds. His name was Vitaly Babinov, and he did a very good job. He's a student in manufacturing technology. He's currently on co-op.
And that's a collaboration with Westfield High,
we
correct?
co-op with
Yes.
Westfield High.
Do you think there's any chance that might be self-standing at some point here?
Possibly in the
Yeah,
future.
and I know that the whole MIAA, I still don't understand a lot of it, but I know it's a number of things. But we're fortunate enough
And
to.
I'm pretty sure if Mr. Brown has anything to say about it, at one point we will have
That
Tiger
would-
wrestling.
That would be great. And you have the Auto Sports
Absolutely.
Club.
We have the Motorsports Club.
Motorsports Club.
Currently,
Yeah.
we're building a 1997 Mustang. It is currently in primer and collision technology. We purchased a new motor. It is in auto technology right now, being rebuilt. And hopefully before the end of the year, it'll be reassembled and painted.
And WTA Motorsports, a collaborative effort among auto technology, auto collision, and manufacturing technology.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome
It's
to
a
point
true
out too.
integration project.
That's great. You're a busy guy.
I try.
And happy birthday, belated birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
It's my brother's birthday today too, so
Birthday to
you got a lot of.
you.
So you're a busy guy, but
Yeah.
you know, these kids did great this morning. Your shop is awesome. These guys are awesome. So we're really proud.
Thank you.
We're really proud to have you guys part of our school. And who would anyone like to read all the wonderful items?
Before we
in
close the show,
culinary?
we want to point out to visitors that we're open today at Tiger's Pride for regular service from 10:45 to 12:15, and we're also open tomorrow for buffet from 10:45 to 12:15. So, if you have an opportunity, join us today or tomorrow. Caleb, what do we got?
You're not shy.
Today, Tuesday, March 21st, 2019. So today...
It's a Luigi.
Yeah.
He's going to eat the
It's
menu.
Italian. So our soups today are clam chowder or French onion. We got salads and such. Garden salad, a fresh mixture of salad, greens, and vegetables. Petite